Let's look at an example of completing the square. And I do want to point out, though, the directions do say solve by completing the square. But again, what we're actually using is the square root property. We're going to use completing the square to get to the point that we can use the square root property. But what we're using to solve is actually the square root property. So with that said, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start off by shoving the constant to the other side. So we're going to subtract 3 to the other side. And we're going to leave ourselves a nice little blank where that magic number goes in. So that magic number that we want, remember, is to take the middle coefficient, which is -8, divide by 2, and then square it. Now we're always going to get a positive number when we square it. So even though this is -4 squared, which becomes 16, sometimes I like to write in here -4 squared. I'll explain why in a second. So I'm adding 16 to both sides. Whether I call it -4 squared, whether I call it 16, it means the same thing. But in this next step we want to factor the left-hand side. Sometimes the factoring can be a little bit tricky, but we just got to remember, it's whatever that guy is squared. We made this a perfect square for a reason. And what is it that we're squaring? The -4. Now 16 minus 3 is 13. And so at this point, we can use the square root property, which says to take the positive and negative square root of both sides, and then add the 4 to the other side. Now again, as far as the homework system is concerned, this is 2 separate answers. It's 4 plus root 13 and 4 minus root 13. But there we go.